Thank you.
I lost a few friends for the polio back then.
Okay. Good morning and welcome to the City of Palm Coast City Council business meeting this morning. Today is Tuesday, October the 18th, 2022. It's 9 a.m. and we are in the community wing of City Hall. With that, I would ask you to all please rise and join me in our national Pledge of Allegiance. Apologize. At my house, we tend to get very patriotic. My daughter tends to sing the national anthem frequently around town, and I lead the pledge often, so I have to make sure I keep those lanes correctly separated. So with that, I would ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Mayor Alphen.
Present.
Vice Mayor Branquinho.
Here.
Councilmember Danko.
Here.
Councilmember Finelli.
Present.
Councilmember Clufus is absent.
Thank you. We move to item number D on the agenda, which is public participation. So in order for city staff to be able to respond to your questions or concerns, please fill out a comment card with your contact information. The comment cards can be found on the table near the agendas or available from the Communications and Marketing Director seated in the back. Public participation shall be held in accordance with Section 286.0114 Florida statutes and pursuant to the City Council's meeting policies and procedures. While each speaker shall at the podium provide their name and may speak for up to 3 minutes. The public may provide comments to the City Council relative to matters not on the agenda at the times indicated in this agenda. Following any comments from the public, there may be discussion by the City Council. When addressing the City Council on specific enumerated agenda items, speakers shall direct all comments to the mayor. Make their comments concise and to the point, not speak more than once on the same subject, not by speech or otherwise delay or interrupt the proceedings or peace of the City Council. Obey the orders of the mayor or the City Council and not make any irrelevant, impertinent, or slanderous comments while addressing the City Council, which pursuant to City Council rules shall be considered disorderly. Any person who becomes disorderly or who fails to confine his or her comments to the identified subject or business shall be cautioned by the mayor and thereafter must conclude his or her remarks on the subject within the remaining designated time limit. Any speaker failing to comply as cautioned shall be barred from making any additional comments during the meeting and may be removed as necessary for the remainder of the meeting. So with those instructions shared, I would invite any members of the public who would like to address City Council at this time to please come forward to the podium. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm John Erpelding from the R section. I'd just like to remind the people, I guess we're on TV or being recorded or something. And with 3 weeks to go before the vote, I believe we are in fact already into early voting. I'd like to remind the citizens of Palm Coast that your own City Council has raised their own salaries 151%. And if that's what you want to keep on going, then keep on voting. Myself, I'm on Social Security, and a couple years ago I got a 3% raise. I understand I'm going to get an 8% raise this year, and what a big boon that's going to be. Even though taxes are supposed to be on Social Security then, because it's going to go over that threshold. But I'd like to remind the people who are out there going to the polls, your City Council gave themselves a 151% raise. unbelievable in this world and in this economy. Thanks.
Thank you for your comment. Next speaker, please.
Hello, Chris Nola. I want to ask council what's going on. Why we build a bridge? My buddy Taylor School, 6 months later, we're replacing it. What's up with that? Where's the money coming from? Why does it need replaced after it just got replaced? Does that make any sense? Not to me, I'm sure not to a lot of other people. It's just true. What else is going on? They come and redo our swells. We got an engineer that comes out there and surveys. How come I could check from the other person's swell there to mine? It's lower in the middle than it is on the side. So where do you think all the water sits? Where do you think all the bugs are? Right there in the middle. Why is that? I never had a water problem before. No, it never dries up, ever. Why is that? I call, well, we'll have a look. We'll take a look at it sooner or later. When sooner or later? The other man, I talked to one of the neighbors, 3 years already waiting to get it taken care of. Nothing. They just push you off to the side, you know, we'll take care of it sooner or later. How come we can't get a response like right away? Come out and look at it, just say, well, this is what happened. I told them, here's what you could do. You drop off a load of dirt, I'll dig it up, and I'll fix it myself the right way. I'll make sure it's level, since an engineer can't decide how to plumb an area. That doesn't even make any sense to me. So that's the way it goes. So we got any other responses to that? No? Or that's just the way it goes? I just speak, no responses, correct?
So every public speaker, if you followed my instructions earlier, if you'll leave your name and contact, I'll have the appropriate city manager and our officials contact you with an answer to your questions.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next speaker, please.
Steve Carr, Palm Coast. Florida Park Drive is getting close to being reopened, and I just hope it will not be the 9,000 cars per day or 3 million cars per year on that residential street. Just some facts that might prompt you to make some changes. Not long ago, we read about Flint River and the water situation they had. How long had they complained about the water and were drinking the water before something really ever happened? And then later on, they came out and said people were getting sick from asbestos in buildings. How long did they complain before they ever did anything about asbestos in buildings? And not long after that, people were saying people are getting sick from cigarette smoking. How long did it take before something was done about cigarette smoking? Well, those 3 items all deal with the environment. The first one deals with the water. Asbestos deals with what you breathe. Cigarette smoking deals with what you breathe. 9,000 cars a day, 60 feet from bedrooms of children is what they breathe each day. So what are we going to do about that? That's what I'm asking, and I'm hoping something's going to be done before the reopening. It says let's not be a community that says we should have protected the children. Let's protect them. The scientific studies have been done, and we can't say we don't know about the information that the scientific studies have. What do we plan to protect? How do we plan to protect the children? What is a child's health really worth? What is the real cost of delay? Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next speaker, please.
Jim Moore, Rickenbacker. I guess I have a few issues with the wasteful spending that the council has been doing. And I'll give you a few examples. And the Holland Park splash pond, I don't know how many $1 million we spent for that. And I think it worked, what, 1 week? And now we're rebuilding it, and it'll probably never work, which is a bunch of crap. The sidewalk on Belterra, you rebuild it, the wooden sidewalk on Belterra, right at the elementary school and middle school. You rebuild it, and 6 months later you tear it out and you say you're going to put a better concrete one in. And all that wood that was there walked off. I guess it was garbage after 6 months. I don't know what kind of wood you use, but it seemed pretty wasteful. And now we want to build a sports complex. We're going to spend $101,000 for a feasibility study. And we're doing it with an outfit that builds them. So I'm sure you know what the outcome is that going to be. Same as the pickleball bullshit. We spend a lot of money on that too, didn't we? I don't know what it is, but you know, and they're going to put it out there at the end of the city, and they'll probably take an area that right now there's cattle grazing, and we got to get rid of them because they shit methane gas, you know, if it lays there. But I guess it's about time that the council wakes up, or the city, the people of the city, vote your sorry butts out.
Excuse me, sir.
What's that?
Watch your language in my meeting.
No, wait. We
No,
have a president.
okay, you've been warned once. If I have
We
another
have a
outburst,
president of the
excuse me,
United States.
if I have another outburst of language, I will dismiss you from the podium.
There are students in the
Excuse me, Counselor.
I'm talking to you.
Continue, but hold your tongue.
What's that?
I said you may continue with your 2 minutes, but no more outbursts of incorrect language.
Oh, I see. No. Anyhow, I think we're just wasting money. And right now, my Social Security is going to go up 7.5%, 8%, but the cost of living is going up 15%. The cost of electric and everything else is going up, but that doesn't seem to matter to you, because you want to build a sports complex for kids. I have nothing wrong with building stuff for kids, but we got to do it when we have money and when we don't have money. So I think somebody ought to think about that a little bit also. You have a wonderful day.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Penny Overbeck from Palm Coast. I'm calling for the safety of Cimarron. I moved here 4 years ago, and our neighborhood has just grown incredibly, which means more work trucks, more dump trucks, and it has become very unsafe for people riding, walking, or just traveling down that road. All it takes is for a construction vehicles in front of one of the residents that's going up, and it completely blocks that lane in one direction. I have seen skid marks go off the road a couple of times so far that they have gone into people's yards. And I just did a little research because we all know that numbers, you know, just tend to reside with us. So an average reaction time of somebody driving is 1.5 seconds. Now at 30 miles an hour, that is 66 feet per 1.5 seconds. Well, that doesn't seem like a large amount of time, but if you are getting run over in that 1.5 seconds, it's going to seem like an eternity. It scares me. I have older neighbors in my community who like to get out there and live an active lifestyle. Unfortunately, once they hit Cimarron, you know, it is game on for them. I was afraid for my neighbor riding a regular two-wheeled bicycle. We suggested a trike for balance. Well, now she takes up more road, and we fear that somebody's going to hit her, or she's not going to have any place to go. I've been riding motorcycles almost my entire life. I've done track days. My husband raced Daytona 9 times. And I tell you, sometimes I feel it's safer on the track. People are not paying attention, they're texting, you know, and I'm not sure what the answer is to this, but I'd hate to lose somebody in my community, and then we're gonna get a reaction. You know, I'm hoping that it's not gonna take that. You know, we do have a lot of older residents that don't have the reaction time of somebody that's 16 or 24, and we really need to take that into consideration too. So I appreciate that you heard me this morning, and I hope that you all have a wonderful day.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you, sir.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning, George Mayo, Palm Coast. Referring to the gentleman's concerns about Florida Park Drive, I've mentioned here before a very inexpensive way to possibly slow down cars that other cities have tried and been successful in is at intersections they went and painted 3D illusionary speed bumps. Just in the road, when you drive up to them, it looks like it's 3D, but it's flat on the ground. People who live right next door will know what it is. People who are just cutting through just to get by, to cut through traffic, will think it's just a 3D actual speed bump and slow down. They've shown it to be very effective. So I'm wondering if the interim, the city could just go out there and do that. It would take a couple hours and a few gallons of paint, and I think that would help slow down cars. The other concern I have, I saw a problem, was a couple weeks ago I was going to an appointment here and driving north on Bulldog Drive with the high school on my left. The first gate that you come to that would get to the football field or whatever is locked. And I just looked now as I drive by, the gate is locked. Well, I had a 2:30 appointment. I was there at exactly 2:15, and there were cars waiting to get into that lot, people waiting to pick up their children from school, and they backed it all the way up onto Bulldog Drive. In that traffic was also a school bus waiting. So the people who want to pull into well, I don't know what time they opened the gate. You know, maybe you could look into that, or should the gate be open? But there were several cars, then a school bus. There were a couple cars behind the school bus, and more cars coming down south as I was going north. So you're going to have about a 12, 15 car backup for people blocking the road. If emergency vehicles had to get down there, there's no way that was going to happen. And if somebody was impatient, they're going to drive on the wrong side of the road. There's also an esplanade there, so you're creating an unsafe situation. I'm wondering if somebody could look into that and either open the gate or have traffic director there and tell the cars to keep moving, because I don't know how long they were waiting, but blocking the road. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you for your comment. Is there another speaker that would like to address City Council at this time? Seeing no one come forward, I will close this section of public comment and move to agenda item F, which is proclamations.
Mayor, we need to approve the minutes.
Oh, I'm
Agenda
sorry,
item
I missed that. Okay. We have minutes of the City Council for October the 4th, 2022, which was a business meeting, and also for October the 11th, 2022, which was a workshop.
Move to approve it.
I have a motion to approve and a second from Councilman Finelli. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Does the clerk have the count?
Motion passes 4-0.
Then I will move on to the proclamation section of the agenda this morning. And the first proclamation is World Disability Employment Awareness Month, and Councilman Finelli will deliver the proclamation. Thank you, Councilman.
Good morning. We have some special guests in the audience today, and I would like for them to come up and join me at the podium. These are some of the wonderful men and women of Flagler County Schools who both attend school and work in our community. And I'm so proud of them, and I'm glad that you guys are here today to join in this proclamation. We also have some of our great teacher leaders who work in this program, who support our youth here as well today. And I I saw our Director of ESE, Dr. Halliday. Come on up, Dr. Halliday. All right. What a good-looking group. Whereas in 1988, Congress declared the month of October as National Disability Employment Awareness Month to recognize the contributions made by individuals with disabilities, and whereas a diverse workforce creates opportunity for growth and help toward building a stronger economy for our city, and whereas our residents with disabilities deserve the right to live independently, enjoy self-determination, and be treated equally in the workplace, and whereas the ABLE Trust, also known as the Florida Endowment Foundation for Vocational Rehabilitation, has worked with employers and community organizations throughout the state to enable thousands of Florida citizens with disabilities to enter the workforce, and whereas Florida's Division of Vocational Rehabilitation and Division of Blind Services within the Department of Education assist people with disabilities so they may become employed, and whereas these organizations have an overwhelming impact on the lives of many of Florida's citizens with disabilities by offering services including job placement assistance, training, support services, and job coaching. And whereas the city of Palm Coast joins the rest of Florida in recognizing the contributions of the 2.8 million Floridians with disabilities by celebrating October 2022 as Disability Employment Awareness Month. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Mayor and City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, that the month of October be officially designated Disability Employment Awareness Month, and call on all citizens of Palm Coast to celebrate the many contributions individuals with disabilities make to Florida, to our nation, and to the world. Signed this 18th day of October 2022, Virginia A. Smith, City Clerk, David Alphin, Mayor of the City of Palm Coast. So. I have been blessed to work in the school district for many years and to have had the opportunity to see many of our students transition into work in the community. And I've actually been out to some of our community partner agencies to see them in action. They are absolutely amazing, amazing. You guys do a great job and a great service to our community, so thank you for all that you do. Is there anybody that would like to say a few words? Come on up.
All that you guys do in the community and supporting our programs. Our outside agencies, we can't do it without you guys. You guys have probably seen a lot of our friends back here in Publix or out in the community gardens or doing different things around the town. So our community is great in supporting our programs, and we can't do it without you guys. Thank you.
Sure.
Right there.
Okay, ready? We're going right here. Ready? 1, 2, three.
Perfectly fine.
I would just ask the city manager to just comment very, very briefly. regarding the city and the proclamation that we've just delivered.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for such a lovely introduction of the item, Councilmember Finelli. I just wanted to say that it's amazing when we all come together and we support each other, what a light that really projects. So I just wanted to give my support and lend the city's support as well.
Thank you. The next proclamation we have this morning will be delivered by Vice Mayor Branquinho, which is regarding World Polio Day in Palm Coast. And the Vice Mayor and myself were debating about which of us were older, because some of we older folks in the room truly grew up and understand the seriousness of what polio represented, in older times. So it still is an issue, and Vice Mayor, if you'll deliver the proclamation for us.
They said they were coming.
Nobody here. Okay. I'll see, read it anyway.
Yes.
Take my glasses so I could see what I'm doing. Well, as a proclamation regarding the World Polio Day, there's one I was going to ask the person from I don't know if I say Rotary or Rotary. I've heard it both ways. So if anybody could correct me by the end of the day, bear with me. Proclamation. Where's the Rotary? Is a global network of neighbors, friends, leaders, and problem solvers who unite and take actions to create lasting change in the communities across the globe. And whereas the Rotary motto, service above, self-inspires members to provide humanitarian services, follow ethical standards, and to promote goodwill and peace in the world. And whereas Rotary in 1985 launched the Polio Plus, and in 1988 helped establish the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, which today includes the World Health Organization, U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, UNICEF, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, to immunize the children of the world against the polio. And whereas polio cases have dropped from polio cases have dropped by 99.9% since 1988, and the world stands on the threshold of eradication of this disease. And whereas, to date, Rotary has contributed more than 2.4 billion and countless volunteers' hours to protect nearly 3 billion children in 122 countries. And whereas, Rotary is working to raise an additional $50 million per year, $50 million, of course, per year, which will be leveraged for maximum impact, and additional $100 million annually from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And this effort, whereas these efforts are providing much needed operational support, medical staff, laboratory equipment, and educational materials for the health workers and parents. And whereas, in addition, Rotary has played a major role in decisions by donor governments to contribute more than 10 million to the effort. And whereas there are over 1.4 million Rotary members in 46,000 clubs throughout the world that sponsor service projects and address such critical issues as poverty, disease, hunger, and illiteracy, and environment in their local communities and abroad. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Mayor and the Palm Coast City Council do hereby celebrate October 24th, 2022 as the World Polio Day in Palm Coast, and encourage all citizens to join me and the Rotary International in the fight to the polio-free world. Signed this 18th day of October by Virginia Smith and the Mayor of Palm Coast, David Alphen. Due to the fact there's nobody here to receive it, I'm going to give it to our... Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Vice Mayor, I would only comment that I have only recently applied, and been accepted and now going through the process of becoming I am currently a member of the Rotary and will become a Rotarian. So I appreciate the proclamation and the support that the Rotarians give to this dreaded disease of the past, which is certainly within our ability to liquidate or to exterminate, I guess, in the future. So thank you for the proclamation. I appreciate it.
Rotarians are good-hearted people, trust you me. I've spoken with many of them. Thank you.
The next proclamation this morning, our final proclamation today, will be regarding National Planning Month. And the folks that you see before you are the distinguished members of our, Ray, how would you describe your departments? Special. Of our special departments. Now, this proclamation is different than the ones you heard before, but I can't begin to tell you how important it is, because based on public comments and all that we've heard, these are the folks that you will want to talk to about how the future of our community is planned. So let me go ahead with the proclamation. Adam, come join the group. You're part of the group. Whereas change is constant and affects all cities, towns, suburbs, counties, boroughs, townships, rural areas, and other places. And whereas community planning and plans can help manage the change in a way that provides better choices for how people work and live. And whereas community planning provides an opportunity for all residents to be meaningfully involved in making choices that determine the future of their community. And whereas the full benefits of planning requires public officials and citizens who understand, support, and demand excellence in planning and plan implementation. And whereas the month of October is designated as National Community Planning Month throughout the United States of America and its territories. And whereas American Planning Association endorses National Community Planning Month as an opportunity to highlight how planning is essential to recovery and how planners can lead communities to equitable, resilient, and long-lasting recovery. And whereas the celebration of National Community Planning Month gives us the opportunity to publicly recognize the participation and dedication of the members of the planning boards, commissions, and other citizen planners who have contributed their time and expertise to the improvement of the city of Palm Coast. And whereas we recognize the many valuable contributions made by professional community and citizen planners of the city of Palm Coast, Florida, and recognize their continued commitment to public service. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the mayor and the City of Palm Coast Council do hereby celebrate the month of October as National Planning Month in conjunction with the celebration of National Community Planning Month, signed this day by myself, David Alphen, the mayor of the City of Palm Coast. And I would ask Mr. Tyner to please come forward and introduce his staff, but before that, tell me how many different designations and how many hours of extra work these folks have put in to earn this title of professional. And you don't have to be, you just guess.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate everybody. The hundreds of thousands of hours of dedication of our employees here. When I said special, they are truly special. It is not an easy profession. They adhere to our land development code, make sure that all of our codes are being implemented correctly. looking at long-range planning, working with, you know, making sure that 30 years out, we work with the utility to make sure there's water, transportation planning, park planning. It's a very comprehensive profession. And Mayor, I would really like to thank City Council and our administrative staff for your great leadership and your direction of supporting our planners and providing that leadership that filters down to planning staff. Also would love to, you know, thank the Planning and Land Development Regulation Board as well. Not only our current one, but for the last 20 years, they are volunteers that you have selected, are a big part of planning. And then our community itself, our public involvement is so special for us, and it's very important.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I can't help, and I'm sorry to jump the gun here, but, so, you see before you, again, a collaboration between the city and the county, because one of our county, fellow county professionals has joined us, Mr. Mengel, which just shows how closely we all have to work together to make this right for all of our residents. And I can't help but end by thinking that there is one professional up here who not only retired after giving us such great service for so many years, but couldn't stay away and has come back and re-upped again. Who's standing in the back? Mr. Hoover back there. So there's a so there's a lot to be said, and I know family may be a little bit corny, but you folks are under the gun a lot, and you do work together, and again, your collaboration with the county is noticed by us, and we appreciate each and every one of you very much. So again, congratulations and thank you. We now move on to section G of the agenda, which will be appointments. And I'll ask the clerk to give us some direction here.
Sure, Mayor, City Council, at the October 4th meeting, you continued this item for 2 of the 3 appointments. And on October 4th, you did appoint the third appointment, which was to District 3. So today before you is going to be an appointment for 2 regular members. I gave everyone this sheet that's in your agenda packet for you to have some information. I'll pass out the first voting tally will be for 2 seats. Place an X next to 2 of your choices. Sybil Dodson Lucas would require all of you to vote for her today because it requires a 4/5 vote as she's completed more than 2 terms. And also, Mr. Gross is unavailable today due to he works during the day at the community center doing a class. And Ms. Haywood contacted me to let me know she was unable to attend as she would be out of state for work as well. But she did submit an email as to why she would like to be appointed, which was in your agenda packet. And there 2 applicants are here, so before I hand out the voting sheets, we will have an opportunity for council to have a 3-minute overview with an applicant, one at a time, for any questions you may want to have with the applicant. So at this time, I'll call Hung Hilton to the podium, and if Ms. Nichols could, Brittany Kershaw will escort you to another room.
Good morning, Mr. Hilton. Thank you for coming this morning. We offer you 3 minutes to kind of explain to us what your interest in the board is, followed by if any city council members have questions specific to your application. So please proceed at your pleasure.
Okay, sure. So my interest in the board. So yeah, my family moved to Palm Coast. I actually had a friend that we were looking to move to someplace warmer than Michigan where we lived, and they said you should check out this city called Palm Coast. I looked into the city and saw it was a younger city, kind of up and coming, lots of good opportunities for our family, and wanted to get in to be part of that. So we moved to, you know, to here to, I guess, be able to participate in the community, see it up and coming, and being on the planning board as an alternate now, and hopefully a regular member after today would be, you know, just a good way to be involved in the community. I think that I bring a good perspective of just the way I approach things in a logical way, and also being you know, I work at home. That's why I was able to pretty much move anywhere I wanted to, and that's a growing demographic of people that work at home, and also I have kids that I hope will choose to live and stay close, and maybe even they have kids someday. So I'm looking to, you know, be involved and shape the city in a positive way that keeps family around and makes it a place people want to live.
Very good. Ms. Hilton, thank you very much for your comments. I only have one question. Remind me, how long have you already served as an alternate? So just to help me understand the experience that you've already gathered.
I think it was 2020, so 2 years.
So a couple years already attending each of the planning board meetings.
Yes.
Very good. And you explained that by being at home, you have the availability to be able to attend all of our meetings.
Right.
Very good. Thank you. I would ask city council members for specific questions.
Mr. Hilton, thank you for being here. And by the way, thank you for your email asking me if I wanted to ask you any questions privately. I answered back saying no. Here is the right place for me to ask you those questions. You understand the importance of the position you're going to be nominated for if you're nominated.
I do.
You've been there since 2020. Have you missed any meetings? As an alternate, of course. Have you missed any meetings?
No, I mean, you know, so as an alternate, I'm asked to come to meetings to vote when needed. There's been some where, you know, I wasn't asked to go, and so I did not. There, I believe, was maybe 1 or 2 where I was on vacation and just said that I couldn't make it. So,
Okay.
had some conflicts.
And my other question to you. Generally speaking, and I want to make sure that's said generally, the meetings you've been at, have you seen anything from this board that you don't completely agree with? And I'm talking generally speaking.
Right. No, I mean, nothing that I would say I don't completely agree with. For the most part, the process is well defined. I'd like to see, you know, some more data involved in making decisions, and I think some of the reviews of the upcoming comprehensive plan, or the upcoming reviews of the comprehensive plan, will make some opportunity to make processes more clear. But in general, it's, you know, nothing I disagree with.
So you think that data would help you to make decisions better? Is that because you are a solutions architect, or it's because you feel that should be more data to begin with?
I mean, I guess a little bit of both. I end up in my profession, my career, because I, you know, kind of data-driven and analytical, and so by virtue, I'd like to see that applied across everything I'm involved in, really. So.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Council members, any additional questions for the candidate?
Just one. As an alternate, have you had the opportunity to fill in for someone and vote?
Yes, actually, I was surprised how often that happened.
Really?
Mostly, I mean, it's most meetings, for sure, that I, you know, maybe.
So you've been voting, you've been involved
Yes.
through this process. Great, thanks.
Councilman Finelli?
So I did take the opportunity to reach out and have a one-on-one conversation with each applicant, so they have answered all of my questions. Thank you.
And I've done likewise, so thank you for that. Ms. Hilton, thank you very, very much. I would ask you, if you forgive us, if you would be so kind to leave the room while we offer the other applicant the same opportunity, and then you can come rejoin us after that's done.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you again for your time this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
Seems like a long walk to the podium all of a sudden, doesn't it? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Mayor, City Council, administrative staff. You want me to give you?
So just very simply, I'd like within, a 3-minute timeline to tell us what your interest in the planning board is to be an applicant.
Okay. I have served as an alternate since I guess around 2019. I have enjoyed the service so far. My career has been in design, architecture, working in the built environment. My previous history has also included working in a planning commission up in Pennsylvania, and being actually retired as the chairman there. And I just have a passion for development. I have a passion for what we do in terms of developers and community and how it affects the people that live there.
I'll just stop you there for a second, my bad. If please introduce yourself, just because we have to get it onto the record. We know who you are, but.
Okay, I am Suzanne Nicholson. I live at 110 Clubhouse Drive, Unit 2.
Thank you. Please continue.
That's okay. My entire career has been around the design, the built environment. I am semi-retired right now. I have a little bit more bandwidth and find that I'm not ready to completely step back and not be involved. And I have found my last couple of years working with the land planning development has been a very positive experience. I've enjoyed working with the team. I feel like they're very professional, and I feel like we have a great future here in Palm Coast, and I'd like to help serve and continue that.
Very good. I thank you for your comments. So you have prior experience on the planning board. Can you just kind of quantify that for me?
I do. I have served here in Palm Coast as an alternate since 2019, and prior to that, in Pennsylvania in Westcount Township, I was appointed to the Planning Commission there, served for 4 years, and 2 of those years I was the chair.
Very good. Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Hi. Good morning. Thank you for applying for this job. Apparently you like what you're doing.
I do.
Tell us why you like what you're doing.
Because I think what we're doing as a community, whether it's design, development, we're affecting people's lives. And I think the fact that we can positively affect people's lives and stakeholders is really important.
I'm going to ask the other 2 questions I asked the other candidates, so you know. You've been as an alternate since 2019. I believe I voted for you to become appointed in this position. Since 2019, have you missed any meetings?
I've probably missed 1 or 2 because I've been traveling out of town, but even when I'm not a voting member, I still attend the meetings.
But I missed more meetings than you in here, so it's not a problem. The other question to you is this. Generally speaking, I emphasize this, have you seen anything from that board that you don't completely agree with? And what would you do if you don't agree with it?
You're talking about working with the actual planning
Generally.
board. I think it's a very efficient board, and I'm very pleased to serve with them. I respect everybody on the board. Feel like everybody comes fully prepared, reviews what they need to review, and is fully engaged throughout the entire process.
Thank you. No question.
Council members, any additional questions? No? And like Councilman Finelli, I've interviewed you, separately and asked all of my questions. And with that, I thank you. And we both come in and we proceed, or what happens?
Are these the only 2
That's it. Yeah.
Yes, Ms. Dotson Lucas is not here this morning.
Okay. So thank you very much, and please have a seat and join us. So the clerk will offer our next step.
Yes, there are 2 seats open, so please place a check mark next to 2.
And we have both applicants back. Okay, good. Thank you.
Check marks.
X check mark, whatever you prefer. so for the regular seat, we have 3 for Hung Hilton, 4 for Suzanne Nicholson, 1 for Larry Gross. So if you would like to make a motion to approve that, we will then move on to appointing the vacant seats that are now vacant due to the appointment of Hilton and Nicholson.
Move approval.
There's a motion to approve and a second by the Vice Mayor. You have that?
Yes, I do.
Very good.
Yeah, before the vote.
So I would open up this item for public comment at this time. If there are any members of the public that would like to comment on this proceeding, please step forward.
Morning again, George Mayo. My only question is, you have these screens. It's hard to understand what their name is. Is it not possible in proceedings further that their name and their qualifications are put up so as they're speaking, we know who they are, other than just looking at Palm Coast?
Appreciate your comment. Thank you. Are there any other members of the public that would like to comment at this time? Seeing none approach, I will close the public comment on this item and come back to the dais for any additional discussion on the motion that is at hand.
I'd just like to thank all 5 applicants. We really had some good people to choose from, and that's always promising. So thank you to everybody that applied and was part of this process.
Thank you.
I just want to thank those that applied, like I said, and Mr. Hilton, Ms. Nichols, congratulations on your nomination. Please serve well, and remember, you're representing the people of Palm Coast, not anybody else. Thank you.
So if there are no other comments from City Council, I would ask for a roll call vote. It's an important item for us.
Vice Mayor Branquinho?
Yes.
Councilmember Danko?
Yes.
Councilmember Finelli?
Yes.
Mayor Alford?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
And now we move forward with the,
Yes, this is the alternate seats of Nicholson and Hilton.
so because they have left and become members of the board, we're now voting folks in to replace those seats.
Correct.
Understood.
There's 3 options for you. Sybil Dotson Lucas will require a 4/5 vote, and there's 4 of you today, so it would be a unanimous vote that she needs to receive as an alternate today. Mr. Gross and Ms. Haywood are your other 2 options.
Just out of curiosity, Mr. Gross, isn't he in another one of our boards?
No, Mr. Gross is not.
Okay, all right, I'm sorry, then I probably confused you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wasn't he?
No, Mr. Gross appeared before you as an applicant for Councilmember Finelli's.
Oh, okay, that's where my
vacant,
confusion was.
vacant
I'm
council
sorry.
seat.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We are to select 2 alternates.
2 for the
That's
alternate
correct.
positions, yes.
Mrs. Hilton and Suzanne Nicholson are here still. None of these candidates are here now.
so there's no presentation.
Correct. There was a email that Hayward that
Understood.
was in the
Got it.
packet. Okay, so we do have, 3 for Sybil Dodson Lucas, 4 for Larry Gross, 1 for Ms. Hayward. So we will need to do an appointment for, Mr. Gross, and then a redo for, Sybil Dodson versus Heather Haywood. Because she did not receive a 4/5 vote.
So do we motion on the one?
Yes.
Larry Gross. I'll make a motion to approve Larry Gross.
So I have a
Also,
motion-
you have to
Second it.
take it out there first.
Right. What's that?
I think you have to take, before we make the motion, you want to take it to the public?
After I have the motion
Beautiful.
completed. So I have a
Then-
motion
I second
and
it.
I have a second. So any discussion? So I will offer the public an opportunity to comment on this motion at this time. Are there any members that would like to step forward and address City Council? Seeing no one step forward, I'll come back to the dais. Any further discussion? Then we have a motion, we have a second, so we'll follow the same procedure and do a roll call vote, please, if the clerk would.
Vice Mayor Branquinho?
Yes.
I'm sorry, clerk, could you repeat the motion so that we're clear?
Sure, the motion is to appoint Larry Gross to the alternate seat 1.
Just the one, right. Very good, thank you.
Councilmember Danko?
Yes.
Councilmember Finelli?
Yes.
Mayor Alford?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. So this is going to be the next vote for Mr., I'm going to put it in as Mr. Hilton's seat, and I will cross off.
I appreciate the clerk being ready with all the possible variables in this.
Good.
Thank you.
So this is for the alternate seat 2 position?
Yes.
Madam Clerk, thank you.
Thank you.
Hope you did.
Thank you. So we have a 4/5 vote for Sybil Dodson Lucas.
All right, and I make a motion to approve
I'll
Ms. Lucas.
second.
The vote's been confirmed, that's for her? Okay, so make a motion to approve.
Any additional discussion by City Council? Nope. Are there any members of the public that would like to comment on this motion? Please come forward. Seeing no one approach, I'll close public comment, come back to the dais. Is there any additional discussion? Then we'll follow up with a roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Branquinho?
Yes.
Councilmember Danko?
Yes.
Councilmember Finelli?
Yes.
Mayor Alford?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. So congratulations to all of the appointees, and we appreciate those that were not appointed for taking the time. And we would hope they would look forward to participating in some of our other boards as well, because as important as this board is, the city functions, in the public, with the public's participation on these boards. So each one of them is extremely important to all of us. And I think the planning proclamation was apropos, because the input that you all provide helps our planning people help decide the direction along with you for the future of the city of Palm Coast. So thank you all very, very much. Congratulations. And with that, before we begin today with the council business portion of the meeting, I want to take a moment to discuss city council processes relating to approval or denial of items presented to council at all business meetings. For each workshop, City Council receives a comprehensive overview of each item. At that time, it is Council's opportunity to provide opinions and ask questions on each item. Just a reminder, items that are quasi-judicial in nature will require Council to base their decisions on only what is presented at the scheduled public hearings conducted at the scheduled business meetings. The purpose of a business meeting is for Council to review and weigh all of the evidence and take action with decisions based on all information presented both at the prior workshop and today. So with that, we will move to agenda item number, letter H, which is ordinances of a second read. And if Council, would you read in item number H6 into the record for us, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is a rezoning application number 5153, Oaks Trails ALF rezoning, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, providing for the amendment of the official zoning map as established in Section 2.06 of the City of Palm Coast Unified Land Development Code, amending the official zoning map for 9.81 acres of certain real property generally located at the intersection of Old Kings Road and Oak Trails Boulevard, and more particularly described in the attached Exhibit A, to rezone from suburban estate to public, semi-public zoning district, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. And Mayor and City Council members, this is a quasi-judicial matter, so if you had any ex parte communications on this item, please disclose them now for the record.
Councilman?
I've had none.
Councilman? I have not,
None
and none
whatsoever.
for me. Councilor, none of us have had any outside communication. And with that, I would invite Mr. Tyner to proceed with his presentation.
Thank you, Mayor.
Anything changed from last week before you start?
Nothing has changed. This was approved on October 4th. As you recall, this was a rezoning of a state to public, semi-public. The applicant desires to construct an assisted living facility. There's been no changes. The applicant's here. We're here for questions.
Council members, do you have any questions based on the prior presentation? Anything you need to be refreshed? Mr. Tyner, I will ask you a question. The work done, the planning of this project requires requires certain storm water mitigation in order for the project to be approved. Can you or perhaps the applicant briefly describe what you've done? That area is sensitive to storm water. I just want to make sure I understand all the work and effort that's been done to mitigate stormwater.
Well, basically, you know, if the zoning's adopted, the next step would be a site plan for the site. And then both the City of Palm Coast will look at all the details and the technical plans for the stormwater, as well as the St. Johns River Water Management District. So it's just not the City of Palm Coast, it's another agency to make sure that the stormwater complies. In addition, there is already an existing stormwater pond for the road on the site as well, so.
And my further comment, since I was up to my ankles in my good shoes in water during Ian, I would urge you and the applicant, the developer, to, if it's possible, look for ways to further mitigate. I realize that this storm was out of the ordinary, but it would be good for you to have that in your mind as you are, working through the site plan.
Yes, sir.
I just would like to, due to the fact that I was very happy with the presentation done by the petitioner, even before I take it to the public, I would like to make a motion to approve this project.
Okay. All right, well, we can do it that way. So I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Councilman Fascelli. Now, we have a motion and a second. Now, I will open the item up to the public. Are there any members of the public that would like to comment on this ordinance at this time? Yes, sir.
Yes, George Mayo of Palm Coast. I've asked this before. Again, we're just looking at the logo of Palm Coast. Is it possible to put up the property with which you're talking about?
Thank you for your comment. Are there any other members that would like to address this ordinance at this time? With that, I'll come back to City Council. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion by City Council on the item at this time? Seeing no one, Mr. Tyner, thank you for the answer to the questions. I would ask for a roll call vote, please, from the clerk.
Vice Mayor Branquinho?
Yes.
Councilmember Danko?
Yes.
Councilmember Finelli?
Yes.
Mayor Alvin?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. We now move to the next item, number 7, under agenda letter I. If council would read that into the record, please.
This is item number 7 on the agenda for the Retirement Plan Fiduciary Committee Indemnity Agreements, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, approving indemnity agreements between the City of Palm Coast and the newly appointed Fire Chief and the City Manager of the City of Palm Coast Retirement Plan Fiduciary Committee, providing for execution, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Counselor. We believe we have a brief presentation by Ms. Alves.
Good morning, Mayor, City Council, Helena Alves, Finance Director. This is a regular course of business item for us. This is the Retirement Committee is made up of the City Manager, the Financial Services Director, the Human Resources Director, Public Works Director, and the Fire Chief. So the updated agreements are for the newly appointed Fire Chief, Kyle Berryhill, and to update Ms. Bevan's title from interim to City Manager.
I can't help but ask if the newly appointed and command transfer Fire Chief has any objection to what we're doing. I see a big head shake. No, I won't embarrass him and force him to come forward. Are there any questions or comments from City Council? This seems like an administrative piece. Seeing none, I will open up the item for public comment. Are there any members of the public that would like to come forward and comment on this issue? I know that many of you are aware of the change of command ceremony, which happened just at the end of last week, which is probably one of the biggest ceremonial and passionate and emotional events the city has witnessed in some time. So appreciate all of those members that were a part of it, and looking forward to the future with very great optimism. So with that, I will open up the item for public. Any members of the public? No one, so I'll close that. I will look for a motion.
Motion to actually approve this.
Motion by the Vice Mayor. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
And Councilman Danko has seconded. Any further discussion? So let's go ahead and do roll call.
Vice Mayor Branquinho?
Yes.
Councilmember Danko?
Yes.
Councilmember Finelli?
Yes.
Mayor Alvin?
An enthusiastic yes, thank you.
Motion passes 4-0.
Very good. All right, we move on now to the next resolution, number 8, under letter I on the agenda. Councilor, if you would please read that into the record.
Thank you, Mayor. This is regarding Waterfront Park, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, approving grant agreement with FIND FL-PC-22-23, a work order with CPH Engineers, approval of a contract with Sabagui Construction, Inc. for construction of a waterfront park Phase 1, Part A, B, and C, and approval of a project contingency. Authorizing the city manager or designee to execute the necessary documents, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, providing for implementing actions, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Councilor. Lauren, you have a presentation. Please proceed.
Yes, good morning, Mayor and City Council. Lauren Johnston, Assistant City Manager, and Eric Gibo, our City Architect. We're filling in for Mr. Carl Cody. We're going to jump right in. This waterfront park is connected to our FIND grant, and we want to continuously thank FIND, and Commissioner Stapleford is here in our audience, and he's been a great champion of the city. Our FIND continued support events is our annual Intercoastal Waterway Cleanup, Long Creek Nature Preserve, Long Creek Navigation Enhancements, and then also our Intercoastal Trail, Children's Memorial Garden, and Waterfront Park. Waterfront Park is a crossroads for recreation. It is the only park that's directly located on the Intercoastal Waterway. It provides our residents with many recreational activities and is heavily utilized. It's one of our prized jewels in our park system by those who access by car, foot, bicycle, and various trail connection systems. Waterfront Park also is in between two other water access facilities within the county. One is Herschel King Park and the other is Bing's Landing. You can also see through this map that it connects through the waterway system to Long Creek Nature Preserve. This is the history of Find and their support. The overall 3-year phase grant is funded into 3 different parts. This is a combined total of $960,810,000. So great partnership through Find, and very thankful for these awarded grants.
This slide demonstrates the 2 phases that are associated with the project. Phase A is actually the water access phase, and that's the current phase. Phase B is a future phase which would expand the parking and amenity accessibility.
We've got some diagrams here. Phase A showing you the water and stabilization, and then Phase B being the future.
This slide actually demonstrates the work that's associated with both phases.
We're going to be doing some dredging, some site work, concrete pad, and then also adding a floating dock.
These are the not-to-exceed grant amounts which will provide up to 50% of match for the eligible items for the project.
And safety is a priority for the city of Palm Coast, so we are going to add some educational kiosks with safety and operational guidance of being in the Intercoastal Waterway, powered vessels, and then also just being mindful of any of the mammals and environments that they might see.
The construction is to initiate mid-November with commencement April of 2023.
So we're here for council's action to approve your agenda item today that lists CPH in the construction process, as well as Sabungi, our constructor, and we're here to answer any questions you may have.
With respect to Councilman Clufus, who's unable to attend today, I must make the following comments: that Waterfront Park is overused at this point. It's outgrown its geographical boundaries. On the weekends, there's no place to park. There are too many people enjoying the amenity. That's been going on for some time and continues, and I've witnessed the same. So just on behalf of him, I'd like to make that comment that this project is probably, long overdue is not appropriate. What it is, I'm very happy that we are able to attend to the growth of the interest in this project with the help of our close friends at Find. And I would also just ask you, when Commissioner Stapleford comes up, if you would just introduce him properly, so I'm sure he might like to make a statement. But before that, are there any questions from City Council about this item?
I don't have a question, I just have a comment. If it comes from Find, Florida Inland Navigation District, it's a good partnership for Palm Coast. I guarantee you. And they ask for nothing in return, basically. They're helping Palm Coast. They care for Palm Coast. So, Mr. Stapleford, even before you say anything, thank you for what you've been doing, and thank you for what you're going to do in the future, because I apparently know, you said it here the other day, we're going to get some close to over $500,000 from Find. And guess what? You guys ask for nothing in return. Win-win situation. Thank you.
Captain, would you like to make a comment? I'll put you on the spot. Just for all those that you don't know, Commissioner Stapleford is a retired Navy captain.
Always being on the spot, Mr. Mayor and our great council. It's always a privilege to come here and to be part of the grant process. This project has been ongoing for quite a while. I know that everyone who's been involved in it and who have developed it, the briefings and the presentations to our group down there at our headquarters, it can be challenging to meet the other commissioners of our fine group. There's 12 of us, each representing our own county. So this is one that's needed to come. I'm glad it's finally here. I'm glad to see the shovel might go in the dirt in November. I hope to be there for that moment and for the ribbon cutting when it's opened. And for more future projects, I hope to bring forward to this beautiful city of Palm Coast and our county of Flagler. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your comment. I do have one last question, Ms. Johnson. Sure. It's my understanding that there are a group or groups that utilize this facility to fish. They enjoy fishing and what have you. So again, if it's possible, I'd like you to consider their requests regarding some kind of a fish cleaning or some kind of a station where that makes it cleaner and better for all that use it. There may be issues with it. I'm just asking you to make a proper consideration if it's possible. Fair enough?
Sure, thank you, Mayor.
We would be happy to accommodate you on that fishing cleaning station, Mr. Mayor, and hope to demonstrate to you with your demonstration of how to cut a fish.
All right. Appreciate that.
It's a good idea.
It's a good idea. I like it. Okay, we'll do a wow. With that, I would open up this item for any members of the public that would like to comment on this project at this time. Yes, sir.
John Rebelding, our section. My comment, I've got two comments to make about this. The first one is did I read it proper? That on your, when it had up on the screen that it said that the city council agreed to not pursue any speed requirements in that area? I mean, that's what it said. Maybe one of you can explain what that was, or maybe I'm reading it wrong. The second part of the question is, thank you very much for putting it up on the screen. The gentleman back here asked you twice why you couldn't put the planning things up on the screen, and you ignored them. Hell, I thought the whole thing was shut down. It wasn't working, but they come up and they've got a nice presentation. It is on the screen. Why didn't you do it for the other one? Like I said, did I read that right where it said the city council agrees to not pursue any speed regulation? Because if people are fishing there, or maybe, we come into the, I was living on the other side of the state where they had a lot of manatee, and they had to pursue speed reductions to save the manatees. And I'm just wondering what that is about. Why is that even a question?
So why don't you let me ask one of the experts to come forward and address that comment.
Thanks.
Very good. Thank you for your comment. Commissioner, are you able to, I think you are probably able to address that language in the grant application.
Well, the speed requirement, we refer to the Intracoastal Waterway as the M95. It's not a, we use it for getting large ships down, whether it be by barge, but the whole idea is to create the navigation for recreational vehicles to go at an appropriate speed. The only thing that would present a problem for a speed limitation, is that what we're talking about? You want to have a slowdown speed on the Intracoastal Waterway? Is that the question?
Well, I don't know one way or another. All I'm saying is the city council has it in their referendum up there to say that they would not pursue any speed.
That's correct. So basically, Our concept of a speed control is to maintain the integrity of an M95, and that is not to put down a no-wake zone for the length of the 300-plus miles of the ICW. So in order to have a speed zone minimum wake, no wake, if that's what's being proposed or requested here, that would have to go through other agencies to get that approval.
So I guess, so my first question is, so the city of Palm Coast has no standing with regard to the right-of-ways or the rules on the intercoastal waterway, is that correct?
That's correct. Their boating standards are set by the Fish and
So
Wildlife
I assume the
Commission.
language in the application is just acknowledging the fact that that's outside of our city limits.
That's correct, and if it were, if the issue of rowing, crewing, et cetera, came up, there are provisions in the law, the legislation of the state of Florida that provide the process of appropriately crewing or rowing within the ICW.
Okay, so if we could, city manager, if we could find the agencies, identify the agencies that are responsible for the speed within the intercoastal, if we could provide that information to the gentleman with the question, because it's outside of our authority, that would be helpful.
Yes, absolutely, and the gentleman did mention manatees. The county does have a manatee protection plan in effect.
That's correct.
Good, all right,
Do
I thank you for that.
slowdowns.
Very good. Yes, sir.
Yes, George Mayo, Palm Coast. I too had the same question, is why the city would commit to not asking for a low wake or no wake zone. You kind of understand it's out of our purview, but if you're having a new kayak placement right there, you would, I would think, want to have a low wake zone in order to allow people to launch their kayaks. So I would now ask the city to pursue with the state, looking forward, whether we can go forward with a low wake or no wake zone in that area. They have one up by Bing's Landing, and so I'm just asking that maybe we could do this here for the betterment of the fishermen and people who are launching kayaks. I think it would be beneficial going forward. Thank you. But project otherwise, thank you.
Thank you for your comment. So does staff any additional comment regarding these, the comments by the public?
We work actively with Find and their executive director to help us with our application and make sure we're following their process. So some of the things that you see in this presentation was also reflected to Commissioner Stapleford's point to the Find Commission as well.
And I think on the presentation, it says the approach to the user safety awareness. It clearly says we're going to have educational kiosks with safety and operation guidance, channel users, powered vessel rights of way, boater safety, manatee awareness, and distance to destination. So right there, it tells us that we actually are looking into the safety and all those. And that was in the presentation.
Any additional comments from City Council at this time on the presentation?
I did have one. I want to thank Commissioner Stapleford and Find for the grant funding for this. How much was it in grant funding? Does the city have a number on that?
Total awarded through the 3-year phase was $960,000.
Wow, that's a lot of money to support the residents of Palm Coast. I think it's great anytime that we can provide opportunities for accessibility to our waterways, to our families, to fish and enjoy all of the beautiful amenities we have in Palm Coast. It's a great thing, and to do it in partnership with Find makes it even better, so thank you.
Good. Now, based on the language that currently exists within this grant application, excuse me, there's nothing that we've agreed to or prevents us from continuing our discussion with Find in the future about how to improve safety.
No, sir.
So I'm getting a nod from everybody. Commissioner? So there's nothing preventing staff from addressing safety with you in the future? Never? Okay, very good. I just want to make sure that that door is open. Very good. If there are no other public comment, I'll come back to the dais. Final discussion. I'll ask.
Based on the above, I'll make a motion to approve the grant agreement with Find.
I have a motion and a second from Councilman Finelli. Any further discussion? I'll go all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. We move to item letter J on the agenda this morning, which is our consent agenda. Are there any members of the public that would like to comment on any item in the consent agenda? Seeing no one approach, I will close the public comment. I will come back to the dais. Are there any members of City Council that would like to comment on
make
the
a
agenda?
motion.
I have a motion to approve, Councilman Dankel, and a second by Vice Mayor Branquino. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Does the clerk have the vote?
Motion passes 4-0.
Very good. I now move down to the final piece of agenda, letter K, public participation. Are there any members of the public that would like to comment on any issue not previously discussed on this morning's agenda? Please come forward at this time.
Again,
Yes, sir.
Again, John Erpelding, our section. The one thing, if I'd had more time, or if I'd have thought about it reading this, and I did read your agreements, is that there's a thing in there that, talking about work orders for weed control and stuff in the stormwater drainage things. I had a problem myself with the city, somebody in the city, pouring, not weed control, but defoliator in the swale alongside of my house. My problem is when you killed all the grass in the swale, I would driving my lawnmower down in there, my garden tractor, it'd sink a foot in the mud. I'm 75 years old. It's a hell of a job to try and pick that garden tractor up out of a foot in the mud. Now, twice I've had people stop and see me struggling trying to pick it up and help me pick it up. But when I called the city about it, they says, we didn't do that. We don't know who did it. Well, somebody knows who did it. And the second part of it is there's a retaining pond over there to where the chemicals that you're putting in the storm water, in the storm drains, in the swales, if you're killing all the grass in there, you're running all those chemicals down into the retention pond. I just think that should be addressed. I mean, I don't know what they're doing or whatever, but I know when I asked about it, they said they didn't do it. And I'll tell you what, I didn't do it. Somebody did it. I just want to make one other comment that, you know, with these groups that you got out here, they're wonderful, wonderful. I give them all credit. But you had come out here and mentioned about polio. And somewhere along the line, a number of years ago, there was a young man or an old man who had simply eradicated polio from the face of the United States of America. Now, due to our democratic government now, who have opened the border up, we all of a sudden are having a resurgence of polio and whatever the other disease that they got coming up. And I just think that we should comment on that. It's got to do with our government open the border and allowing polio for a resurgence where it was already eradicated. Thanks.
Thank you for your comment. City Manager, if you'll have someone be able to follow up with the comment regarding the treatment of swales so that we understand what's going on there. Appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Yes, good morning again, George Mayo. Being as how you said it, today was Polio Awareness Day, et cetera. I too am old enough to remember the scourge of polio and people being affected by it. Up in north, I know at least New York State, if not some other states, as we have done with tested for COVID in our wastewater, well, the northern states are now testing for polio in their wastewater because of a rise in polio cases. And I wonder if the city is doing that, checking for polio in the wastewater. And if we are not, is that something we might think about doing, if it would be costly, whether or not? Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Are there any other, yes, sir?
Good morning, Mayor, City Council, Gene Dowd, Palm Coast resident. I first, as always, would like to thank all veterans currently serving or have served, all first responders, law enforcement, fire, EMS, and I'd like to again thank the city and all their workers for the job they do. And especially, I forgot that, is the first responders and military that have given their lives. Thank you to them all. I'd like to thank, from the storm recovery and before it, Waste Pro. They came around Wednesday in my neighborhood before the storm hit and picked up debris. And those guys were hours late from the normal time, soaking wet, dripping down. And then after the storm, they were there days later to pick up trash, and then days later to pick up waste. And they did a really fine job, and I'd like to thank them. And because someone already mentioned that, 3 weeks from today is Election Day, a couple of members will not be on this council, and I don't know if they'll be here to thank personally, so let me do this now. Although I disagreed with some of what they've said over this last year and a half that I've attended meetings, I respect every one of you sitting there. You were elected by the majority of the voters in your elections, other than one that was appointed. So to you, Mayor, through you to the Vice Mayor, I am proud that I came from New Jersey as you did. I am proud to be a son of 2 immigrants to this country. I am proud that you served years as law enforcement in one of the toughest cities in Newark. I can say that because I lived in walking distance of that city. So thank you. Thank you for serving the school board of Elizabeth, where I worked for 39 years out of the company headquarters in 3 states for that company. Thank you. And although I'm sure your sons, the one you lost as well, and your wife are proud of you, so were the residents that voted for you and didn't agree with you all the time. Thank you. And to the other councilman that was not elected, and I gave a load of crap to early on, I apologize again. But to join this council is at the time when all of what was going on, and I'll name 4 of them, the salary increase for city council, the Waste Pro contract, the Green Lion contract, the budget this year, and all the other things that have come before you weren't challenging enough. But I was here the day you were selected. I was at city council, or school board meeting that night, and I've never seen that before there. All 5 of the members and the superintendent welcomed you and congratulated you. So my last word on this, and thank you to your family for what you've gone through recently. Know it personally, and I know they're proud of you. Thank you.
We thank you for your comment. Any final comments, from the public this morning? Seeing no one approach, I'll close this section of public comment. Go ahead, you have to.
I would just like to, Mr. Dowd, all of this was done with honor and pride. And my son, I guarantee you, up there looking out for me, he must be proud of what I'm doing, of what I did, and of whatever ventures I'll get to do in my life. And thank you for recognizing that, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. With that, I would move forward on the agenda for any members of City Council that have final comments today. Councilman Danko?
I just want to congratulate our new chief. So proud to attend that ceremony. And I have to let you know that we have a new word in our vocabulary in my house, and it's called tiling.
I too would like to welcome our new chief. What a moving ceremony. I know you're going to serve this city well and make us all proud. And I feel safe knowing that you're leading our city. So thank you in that. And thank you to the mayor and the city for their support of the change of command ceremony as well. I had the opportunity to host the Citizens Academy this past week, and it was utilities, public works, and customer service. Wow, amazing. You guys, I was so proud to be part of it and to be there. The amazing things that we are doing as a city, I just wish everybody could be part of the Citizens Academy and see all of the great work that is being done in our city, because it is truly amazing. So if you haven't had the opportunity to be part of that academy, please think about signing up for it. Absolutely amazing work. Bravo to everybody in the city for the work that they're doing. Lastly, tonight's Food Truck Tuesday. Come on out and participate if you can. The profits from Food Truck Tuesday will be going to support the Dolly Parton Library, which provides books to youth under the age of 5. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
I just
Yes,
have
sir.
two things real
Go ahead.
brief. Yesterday, I attended a golf outing for the Palm Coast Historical Society, a fundraiser. It's called the Nine and Dine. What a bunch of great people I met there yesterday. They made me feel so proud of somebody. Mind you, this is all volunteers. Nobody makes a cent over there. These people are phenomenal. Great people, the attitudes, oh my goodness. I met, those that played with me, 3 people that I met there. My goodness, phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. And they all volunteers. The gentleman that I played with, actually, he volunteers at the Humane Society cleaning dogs' teeth. This is unreal what these people do for nothing. Okay. And the other one that I have to say has to do with last Friday, the chief's transfer. If that ceremony was good for anything, I guarantee you, was to prove that me and the chief have 2 things in common. A haircut, and we both wusses. We cry for anything and a half, but he deserved it. That was very emotional. Congratulations, Mr. Kyle. They call it
Kibbe.
Kyle, that was another one that was called. That was funny, but I'll remember that. And I hope the next time you come here, you'll bring the rest of the gold in your arm and your sleeve. All right, sir? And congratulations.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Just a couple of final comments from me. We don't, I think at the last meeting, we spoke a little bit about how important arts and culture are. We get into the details of, how the city runs and operates. We must always keep in mind that, a sustainable and a successful city require a balance in all things, a balance in all departments, a balance in all expenditures, a balance in all public comment. And again, we do appreciate every member of the public that comes here to share comment. But with regard to arts and culture, for those of you who may not have tuned into the Board of County Commissioners meeting last evening, there was some exciting news that was approved. The Flagler County Cultural Society, which has been nicknamed FC3, was designated as the county's official local arts agency. What it means to have a local arts agency in the county is that they can now apply for state and federal grant dollars to fund projects locally. So we take the money we ask for money from the state to fund the projects here locally. The City of Palm Coast has worked closely with FC3 on their strategic plan and in making arts and culture a priority in our community. We're very excited for the opportunities ahead now that this council is confirmed, so thank you to all who helped make this possible. And to those tuning in, it's not too late to get involved. The Board of Directors is just beginning to lay the groundwork. Visit FlaglerCulture.com. That's FlaglerCulture.com to learn more. And just to piggyback on that, while we're on the topic of arts and culture, please join us this Saturday, October the 22nd, right here in Central Park for the Fall Arts Festival from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. This event is a partnership between the City of Palm Coast, United We Art, and the Palm Coast Arts Foundation. It promises to be a beautiful day filled with art, music, food, and fun. Regional artists and artisans will showcase their artwork for enjoyment, and you can even purchase art to take home with you. Entertainment will be provided by local musicians, and there will be a variety of tasty treats available to purchase again from food trucks. The first ever event is a must attend. We hope to see you there so you can say, I attended the very first event. So with that, please look forward to the upcoming weekend. You all have earned it, and I hope it's beautiful and the weather sustains us. Thank you. With that, I would ask City Councilor, do you have any final comments?
I do not.
I will leave it now to City Manager to close us out with any final comments.
Yes, first of all, thank you to all of our city council members and Mayor Alphen for the support and the reflection of the change in command to our Fire Chief Barry Hill. So really do appreciate that support. I have to share a candid moment that I actually went home, got on the phone, and called my family in Alabama and saying how amazing it was to see. I'm about to get a Kylie, right? But second item is administrative in nature. This is the time, if you have any questions within your packet, to discuss emergency or sole source items. None? Thank you. That's all I have.
Very good.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We are adjourned.